Thank y'all. It's good to be here. But keep it brief. I know you guys have a busy evening ahead of you, but what I want to do is give y'all an update on where we were. So we're working through, I believe the last time someone was here from Thompson Litton, they were talking about doing a major permit amendment for your landfill. So we're working through that now. And what I'd like to talk about this evening is what your options are going to be moving forward. So right now, we're looking at a closure date of September of next year for that landfill. Closure costs currently estimated at, well, let's just call it $3 million. Once that's closed, and I want to just make it clear that for 30 years, at a minimum 30 years, you're looking at anywhere from $60,000 to $100,000 a year just for your post-closure care costs. That's gas, groundwater monitoring, leachate hauling, cutting the grass, stormwater management, stormwater sampling, so on. So where we go from there, once the last load of trash goes on that landfill, what do we do next? Where do we take that next load? And what Thompson Litton's been looking at, among other things, we're still evaluating other options, but what I wanted to present to you this evening, what our estimated cost would be for the city to construct a transfer station. That's a capital cost of $2.5 million. And your first year operation, you're looking at roughly $580,000 in operational. That's hauling it, to paying your gate fee at a landfill, your haul rate, your debt service, operational costs, roughly around $580,000, and that's if the city builds this. That is in addition to your collections cost. So whatever your budget is in there now for that, you're looking at another $580,000 a year, roughly. And then on top of that, right now, you're able to haul the wastewater treatment sludge directly to your landfill. You would not be able to put that in your transfer station. That would be a direct haul. So I just separated that out so you get an idea of what that yearly cost would be, roughly. Now we're continuing to look at other options, interim agreements. Ideally, maybe we can get potential agreements with neighboring localities. I mean, the idea, the whole game here in solid waste is volume. So the more volume you have, generally speaking, the less expensive it'll be per ton. But these are the numbers that we've put together so far just to give you folks an idea of what you're looking at in the future. That's where we're at. And again, we're still looking at other options to see if we can get these costs down for you. But right now, this is essentially our starting point.
So Mike, as we look into this, right now, the city operates in refuge. We have a refuge collection budget, which is our folks going around the community picking up our residential and commercial waste, which includes our refuge trucks as a big capital expense there. So we have that. Then we have our refuse disposal, which is Peters Mountain Landfill.
Right.
So each one of those covers a various end of our refuge system. Right. So as you explained to council, we are looking at some other options. Explain, if you don't mind, just touch on what, and I'm just going to call it mini transfer. If we need to get into, if we run into a situation where we need to go small to assist what we collect on a daily basis, could you explain that to City Council?
Sure. That's one of the options that we've looked at. There's two types of systems out there. One is called a TransStore system, which it's a big covered hopper, right? So your refuse trucks would back into this hopper, unload. And then once that hopper's full, it would be tipped into a transfer truck and hauled to a permitted landfill. The other option is a COMAR system, which is a pit that has an auger that would auger into your truck. we like that system a little bit better because it allows you to pack it a little bit tighter. You can get a little bit more per load. Costs are about the same. So that would handle, those two systems would certainly handle the city's tonnage. The Comar system would be able to take slightly more. So if you were able to say, maybe add Bath County or something to that agreement. The drawback to those systems is it's just refuse. There's no construction debris, still no sludge, no construction debris. That would be a separate type of transfer station. So, and what we're looking at, because of the timeline here and our closure, we need to figure it out and come up with a plan fairly quickly. And we're, like I said, we're efforting all of those options for the city. Does that help explain, Alan, to the degree?
Because we've looked at the trans store, we've looked at the full-blown transfer station.
Right.
As Mike mentioned, we are having open communication regarding such with disposal. I hope to follow up on that over the next 3 days at our managers conference with a couple folks to see. So really we would like to have a goal within, certainly by the time 1st of August, have a clear direction of where we're going to go.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's kind of where we're at. And we remain hopeful of September of 2025 with our current landfill operations. The one thing we talked about some time back, and it's good that we have good staff and good communication. The biggest concern, if we do something at Peters Mountain in the trans store or the transfer, is the large trucks getting around Humpback Bridge and then getting on to Route 60. It would make sense, and even if we can make provisions to get them around that turn at Humpback Bridge, the big concern is naturally the truck would want to go left on Route 60 towards the interstate, and we got a lot of traffic, particularly wood traffic coming in both directions.
Sight distance there.
Yes. Yeah. And I just appreciate staff for calling that to our attention, because we hadn't considered giving that any thought whatsoever. But one of our staff members over at Public Works was very quick to point that out to us. So we appreciate that.
That is a really good point as a truck driver.
Yeah.
Getting in and out of there.
But we got a couple options that we're looking at, so we remain hopeful. We remain hopeful.
What about a reverse chem stand? Let's take some of our stuff and back up north. Say that place on Staten Island, they closed. Open it back up with our garbage. It'll give us another 20, 30 years. Once everything is
We'll give that thought.
We do have room for another cell, though. We have room for another cell.
You do have room for another cell. I don't know. I don't feel like that's the recommended path for various and sundry reasons. But ultimately, the biggest reason is you just move you just move these costs go up. You're eventually going to have to do this.
So, where would we be at per ton? You got any figures on how much it would be costing us a ton? When you talking about $500,000 first year, is that what you said?
Yes, sir. You're looking at roughly $110 a ton.
And we're 80-something now? Are we at 80-something now? Anybody know?
That's about right. 88, I think.
88.
Around 88.
The other big issue, if we decided that we wanted to open the other cell, is our cover soils. There are none. We'll be lucky to get through.
Yeah,
We're still right now with enough cover.
we barely have enough left remaining cover dirt to close what you have. So there wouldn't, I'd be quite careful here, but I don't believe there'd be enough to operate an Excel, much less close the entire thing.
And how much did you say? 112?
110.
About 110.
It's $22 a ton.
And we're trying to pare that down. Anything we can do. I mean, we have obvious fixed cost gate rate at a permitted landfill, haul rate to that landfill. Then it becomes your debt service that is factored in, and operational costs. I haven't drilled deep down into that to get power consumption, that type of thing. We just haven't gotten that far with the study, but the $110 is pretty close.
And again, in the services that we are fortunate to provide our citizens, if we looked at the basic transport system, okay, we'll be able to cover our daily residential and commercial refuse, but there'd be no construction, and then we would have to come up with a resolution for our spring and fall cleanups. Also, a big factor in this is once we get to the point where we're going to send it, and this goes back several years ago before we opened the cell we're in now, we were discussing sending our trucks, our refuse trucks to West Virginia and other areas. It does not make sense, at least to Alan Dressler, to that wear and tear on our trucks. We don't know what winters are going to be with trucks. There's just a lot of obstacles there that concern me in the day-to-day operation. So
We looked at Greenbrier County, looked at Highland Ford Transfer.
Salem,
we
what?
looked at a place over at Salem, whatever it is. Smith Mountain, Smith
Now,
Mountain.
does Salem still
Smith
carry their
Gap.
stuff to the meeting? I know they took
Smith
it a
Gap.
long ways.
they have a landfill over now called Smith Gap that's managed with several localities out there.
So have we looked at joining that later?
Took advantage of that.
Have we looked at joining Smith Gap later?
I don't know that we would be offered to join. We may be offered to be a customer in connection with some other local, but I don't know that we would have a place at the table now. We got a couple pieces of equipment at Petery Mountain, but we're still gonna need some of it up there to take care of closure over years.
And just general rule of thumb for a refuse truck is 25 miles. Past 25 miles, you're at a loss.
If we did that, we'd have to have a transfer station to load it to take it over there.
Correct. Right.
What about contracting? From the curb to the dump?
In reference to paying commercial to pick up our refuse, that is something that we have thrown around.
Well, carry on, buddy.
Give us another good 30 days. Hopefully we'll have, be able to have some good conversation over the next 3 and see where we can go, get back this weekend.
Don't come guaranteeing us nothing.
Sir?
Don't come guaranteeing us nothing. The last guarantee we got, we should have 4 more years at the landfill.
Did I say that?
No, not
No,
yet.
yeah.
That was another firm. This was the best deal we had. We'll have like 7 years, and I think it's probably been 3. I'm not an engineer. I can't figure all that stuff out. I just got to believe the people that are telling me the stuff.
I'm just here.
We had a hard time predicting the amount of
And I-
refuge we would get from other localities.
I get that, and historically looking back on it, it was calculated and permitted at 50 tons per day. That was changed to 75 tons per day, and then so on. So I understand how it got there. Yeah, I'm just here to deliver the news, folks. I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have, or further questions. Like I said, Alan and I have been working closely together on this to try to find the most reasonable solution. Here's our starting point.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank y'all.
Thank you, council. Mike, thank you.
Yes, sir. I'm available anytime y'all need me.
Thank you, buddy.
Y'all have a good evening.
You too.